Unbelievablebeats.com production.
Good day, everybody. Shaun Friedman, UnbelievableBeats.com. Just wanted to go over the Muse Box, the joint effort from Muse Research and PV. Alright, well, it's pretty much based on the receptor technology from Muse Research. And what intrigued me to get more involved with this is if you're not really that into using computers and plugins and you actually play out live, that's just one of the ways you can use this. All you have to do is hook up a MIDI controller and you're really set to go. So you're not going to really have a Roland Phantom hooked up to this most of the time, although you could, because you could mix in your keyboard sounds with this. You can actually kind of layer that, which I'll probably go over later. But at its basic use, you pretty much just have to hook up a MIDI cable. So I did this with my M-Audio MIDI controller, and it worked like a charm. I'm just at my apartment right now, so I might as well hook up my standard keyboard to it. So all you need to do is plug in a USB cable, and it'll work fine, which is how I have it now. So people who would use this would probably be playing out live most of the time. If you're a keyboardist and you just have a MIDI controller and you want to have some good sounds, you could use this. That's actually just one example. So it's got something called tags, which is pretty much a tag encompasses all the presets. So sorry you can't see the screen here, but I'll tell you what it says. Tag acoustic basses. So and you just click that down to play it. So here's the acoustic bass. And there's no effects right now either. That was an upright bass 1, and you just push this little knob down, and it loads the next guy. So acoustic basses, there's a couple of those. Acoustic drums. Probably some sounds I'm used to here and there. Acoustic pianos. Now this is where this thing really shines from the Muse Research technology. It takes a couple more seconds to load the pianos because they're sampled really good with the Muse technology. You could research more about that. Acoustic piano. This is Concert Grand Light. The speakers are going to be messed up because the microphone is my Dell laptop. I didn't want to use QuickTime this time. Studio Grand, rock piano, jazz piano. I had about 12 acoustic pianos in there. Brass. The brass section is pretty good actually. Solo trumpet. Sounds a little corny, of course, but solo tuba. Brass section 1. There's some good brass though, actually. Alright, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Electric basses, electric guitar, electric drums, electro kit. Not sure what even this is going to be. There's so many sounds in here. Maker, Super Mario. These are some of the presets in electronic drums. This is just, it's called Groove Maker 3. I don't even know what this is doing. So the standard tempo is 120 BPM. So you can change that BPM for anything that comes out like that. For arpeggiators or grooves, you can change the BPM. So there's arpeggiators in here. There's a lot of stuff. Electro kit. I'll get away from drums. We already did a bunch of those. Organs. You could add effects to all these as well. That was an organ, pitch percussion, strings, solo cello. There's no effects on these right now either, so you can add reverb if you want. Strings, synth arpeggiators, which you already went through, but I'll just pick one. Synth leads. It's not bad. You got synth basses, of course. Juno bass, Moog bass, Cubase. Not the program Cubase, but the letter Q. Synth basses, there's 57 synth basses. Bass pluck on a synth bass. Ugh. Okay. But yeah, it has a bunch of tags, synth basses, synth effects, and the tags are on this low knob. Synth leads is another tag. Synth pads, synth poly, woodwinds, and all those I just named. There's all these presets inside of the tags. So the tags are pretty much the category, and then you got all the presets inside of it. Tag. Okay, you can name your own too, and you can have user presets. Looks like I got to the end there. Some people are naming some new stuff there. Alright, let me just take a look at this little manual just to see all the stuff I went through already. But the manual's pretty good. Oh yeah, typical connections, like I already said. MIDI keyboard right into this, and then out to your speakers. And now on the front panel, it also has a microphone or guitar input. So the manual is really easy to read too. So the top one is usually for guitar. That's input A, and the bottom is input B for your microphone. And you have 48 volts for your phantom condenser power. And that can be changed around in the settings, but A is on top, B is on the bottom. And you have your gain knob for when you want to set your input setting of your mic or guitar. And it has a clipping meter, so you can see how the input signals leveling. And two other ways that they say that this can be used. This one up here is pretty much the one you already saw with that one's with a drum machine to control it. And this last one is actually for like a PA, or if you have a mixer set up. This is saying line out of the Muse into aux return, and the auxiliary out of your mixer will go to line in on the Muse box. That's another way also. And so this is pretty powerful. So just a MIDI keyboard into here, you got all the internal sounds that you went through, and now a whole separate thing, and you could actually do two at once. So you could be playing the internal sounds while you're processing an external source like your guitar, or microphone. So when you plug up your, let's just go with microphone for the first example, you get your level right. There's going to be more tags for that. And I'm just going to scroll through. I'm not going to play you any of the presets, because it'll probably just be feeding back, but I just went through some in my headphones. So it's called, okay, one of the tags is effects vocal. So obviously there's a bunch of presets there. Vox, female channel strip, male channel strip, extreme vocals, smooth, nice, rock, studio, vocal reverb, leads, spreads, fat voice, doubler, triplers, harmony thirds, harmony fifths, triads, all that stuff for vocals. And then of course you can try to use there's other tags, effects vocal plus guitar. So that means you can use it's gonna set it up for you where it knows both are plugged in. So the tags pretty much are correlated with what's plugged in, and they set up tags where you can it kind of gives you a base to start with, and you can tweak it however you want. So that's the there's an FX spectral. You can try that on your vocals. FX reverb, FX PA. That's usually you're saying just if you're actually using a mixer, the line outputs of your mixer. And that's actually one more part of this. On the back, there's actually you can plug in like an MPC or a keyboard with line level inputs on the back of this. And that's also where like your PA system would go into, or coming out of your mixer. So you could also you could use the real internal sounds of your keyboard if you had it, MPC or mixer. And that's on the back of this. But you can only process, I think, the two in the front at the same time, or process the two in the back. I'm sorry, the one line input on the back. So if you have these two going with effects, then you couldn't really put effects on the line input, but it can still actually go through passively through the electronics. So if you have two inputs here, guitar and vocals, you could actually still hear the your line input if you wanted to. It would just go through passively. You'd still be able to hear the signal through the output here, but you wouldn't be able to put any effects on it as far as the line inputs. So as far as effects go, it's either these two or the auxiliary, which is the line input on the back. And they have another tag for that. If I scroll through, tag effects PA, I guess effects PA could be for your keyboard. Effects other, like ring space, insane machine, meltdown, computerized me, grimy freak. Effects keyboard, well, there it goes. So actually, I'll just try that effects keyboard real quick. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Let's see. I get to where's the let's get off that synth. Okay. Effects keyboard. Okay. Now I said this is the tag was effects keyboard, and the preset's aux techno beat. So aux means the line inputs, and I got my Roland hooked up to it. So I'll go to I'm just gonna go to the piano. It's calling that aux techno beat. Aux nice on strings. Not sure why they didn't come through there. Space Birdie? Huh. Oh, that's keyboard. Oh, those are sends. It wasn't coming up without the send track. Effects PA. Not really coming through right there. So that's keyboard again. Piano channel strip. That's auxiliary piano strip. Don't really want to be comparing the Roland piano to the Muse piano, but yeah, that was actually the Roland piano going through there. So there's a lot of options on here. Let me turn that off. I'm turning off the Roland piano. I'm just going to go to electric piano 2. Alright, that was this is back on the Muse electric piano. And you could set up layers and splits really easily with this, just on the front panel. For instance, if you wanted to split, or actually layer, you can go over layering first. You actually have synth 1 and synth 2 on the front of this to use them individually. So it's electric piano on this guy, synth 2, just press down, brass, trumpet. So if I want to layer those, actually you should hit this again. And that should actually be layering. I mean, if you can't hear that. Yeah. You can adjust the level of each one. So there's just the trumpet. I just mixed in that electric piano with it, so you can layer sounds pretty easily. So the way I actually adjusted that sound, just hitting synth 1, and then there's a mix button, and so that's pretty easy to layer sounds. And then splitting sounds is pretty easy. I just had the electric piano and that trumpet. Electric piano synth 1, trumpet with synth 2, 1 and 2. So actually just hold down 1 and press 2, and that's it for splitting it. So that's why I think this is real good for live use again. So it's split it at C3. That's just the default right here. So it's going to be synth 1 is on the left, synth 2 is on the right. Electric piano. Now it's about to be the trumpet. And you could adjust this real easy too on the split point. I just moved it up 1 octave to B4, so now the trumpet's going to start here. Electric piano, the trumpet will start here. Right here. So that just slides back and forth. That's pretty easy for splitting the keyboard. However you want to do it, bass and strings, or just get creative with it. Always hear the piano and strings, of course, but so pretty powerful. Different tags for different effects, and I didn't even go over this guitar. I'm not really a guitar player, but it has all the revolver technology. It has a bunch of guitar presets, all your distortions and all your effects, and you can tweak each one. You can edit the effects. So guitar effects, went over that. Vocal processing, went over all this. Splitting sounds, mix button. Besides the actual effects on each channel, you still have 2 more effects you can put on the entire unit, and that's done in the mix setting. So you can go to that, add some reverb on the entire thing. You have an additional 2 more effects besides just your vocal effect and your guitar effect. You can put an effect on the entire thing, and that's real easy to do too. So I could show you an example. Let's get back to play. Forget about all that splitting stuff. Just go to a normal preset. Synth pad, digital annexation. It's going to be hard to hear an effect on that because already pretty reverbed out. Dark tubular bells. This is on a pitched percussion tag. Let's see if I have mixed. Okay. Effect 2 tag. You can pick your effects 2 tag, which I'm going to do for that bell. I'll just do it as an example. Okay, modulation is going to be that tag. This is to put effects on the entire unit. And okay, I want to pick modulation. Okay, pick modulation. And then the preset, just do deeper chorus. See if that comes out at all. And you can set if it's an insert or send. I'll go to treat it as a send. And I'm going to get back to synth 2. In send mode, should have been there. And it is. Send. So I don't know exactly the order on this because I've been learning this for the past hour or so, kind of getting jumbled up here. But it's easy to just adjust the send level from 0 to 100 on each one. Yeah. Actually find where that's at now. Yeah, it just has to be pushed down actually. Sync 1, then hit mix. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I had to push that down and then go. First you set it up in the mix parameter. Then once you have it individually selected, you can do the wet and dry. So I'm going to turn it to wet. That's completely wet. That's about it. So that was just a little chorus. Hard to hear it, but it was a little chorus effect. Dry. Here's wet. Oh, sorry about that. Probably not the best example, but you can also use that as an insert effect. And I think you can still set the insert level. I'm not sure, but that could either be insert effect or a send effect. So I can select something else you can actually hear. When I turn this to the right, you're going to hear that chorus effect. In that case, it sounded like it got a little louder, but that's how you hook up the effects. Of course, it'll be more dramatic if you have like those modulations and more reverb or delay or distortion. I guess that was a somewhat hard example to hear. Sorry about that. So pretty much went over everything as far as this guy. Pretty easy to use. A lot of different options. Guitar is probably the most powerful one, and I'm sorry I didn't get to go over that. And now, if you do want to use a computer, this is pretty powerful. So it goes on and on. All you have to do is hook up a monitor to the back. It has a video output and a mouse and your keyboard. And then you're all set. I haven't got into that yet, but the GUI, graphical user interface, it's going to look like this. And then this is going to be much easier to work with. I mean, this is pretty easy to work with, and if you have it hooked up to just your monitor, you're going to see all your presets in a list. It's going to be easier to select them. It's going to be easier to see the effects, and it's going to be easier to see the master effects. So everything will get a little easier. You can rename things with it. So using the graphical user interface is going to make it a lot easier for sure. And also there's, on the back of this, there's a foot switch for live use. And you can use a, so you go from preset to preset, actually back and forth, left and right. You can use 2 foot switches hooked up to pretty much a Y cable. You can hook up a 1/4 inch jack into the foot switch, and then have it branch off into 2 1/4 inch, and hook up 2 foot switches to go back and forth between presets. So that is pretty much it. You can also hook it up as far as networking to your computer. It also hooks up to your computer. And that's pretty much all she wrote. It does accept standard MIDI cables as well. I mean, it only has a MIDI in, so you can use a MIDI in regular 5-pin cable or just a USB cable. So hopefully you got a better idea about this Muse Research Muse Box. I'm calling it a virtual instrument and effects module. The easiest thing about this is you just plug in your MIDI controller and you got all these sounds ready to go. So for people who just want to get inspired with new sounds, this is the effects box for you. Thanks for watching.